finally, after a really long time of the SEC being used by the chairman Gary Gensler for personal gain, like the Ripple lawsuit, in which the Ethereum Foundation paid Mr. Gary Gensler to go ahead and sue Ripple, we have got an investigation going on. Now, to be honest, this was well expected, especially after watching a few of my other videos where the feds have really been pushing for an investigation, really been pushing Gary Gensler to either back out of the lawsuit, to settle any lawsuits that they're currently going on. There has been some document released. Rap Tom Emmer says a new investigation into Gary Gensler's regime at the SEC found that peak staff occupancy across all SEC buildings this year has averaged a mere 7%. Why are the taxpayer funding hundreds of millions of dollars of SEC office space when no one's showing up to work? It also continues by saying that this investigation also revealed that Gary Gensler's disastrous leadership has triggered a mass exodus of staff expertise. Over 20% of senior officials and attorneys are leaving the SEC. The American public deserve an SEC led by experts, not nonsense. Now, the crazy part about this all as well is that it's not just Gary Gensler that is going to be investigated. There's actually a very big thing going on that is led by Johnny Deaton, saying that he is going to be setting up the Empower Us referral to the IG for an investigation into the proven ethics violation involving Hinman. He also states that this can't be partisan politics. No one thinks Gary is more a disaster than me. Let's clean up the SEC. Empower Us isn't partisan. Guys, there's going to be a freaking rebellion in the SEC. This is massive. It's very good because at least now we know that there is going to be a clean SEC, that the feds are really going and looking at the SEC. That way we get a actual Securities and Exchange Commission that is protecting investors and not using the SEC for personal gain like Mr. Gary and Mr. Clayton. This video you're about to see is one interesting interview. Now, this is an interview between Gary Gensler, and this was actually 2 days ago, so it was very recent. I don't know why nobody's talking about it, because there's some key information here. Listen to what Mr. Gary has to say. To be honest, it feels more like a comedy show when I was watching it, because he's all over the place. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's speaking nonsense, but I'm gonna make you guys go ahead and watch the video, and you judge on your own. And let me know in the comment section, guys. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel right now before we start. Please do that right now, and let's get right into it.
Great. I have a lot more questions on market structure, but I want to make sure I cover the other areas. Let's move to crypto. You have repeatedly said that the rules around crypto are quite clear, but there's a lot of confusion out there. It's not just market participants. It seems like, a lot of bills coming out of Congress trying to figure out which regulator gets what authority. So why is there the confusion if you think it's pretty clear that most tokens...
Just think about this field. It's about 14 years ago, Satoshi Nakamoto wrote her white paper, his white paper. We don't know exactly who she was. So it's a young adolescent, young teenager, 14 years. And the core was a bit, frankly, off the grid. This 8-page white paper was put on a cypherpunk mailing list. It was to try to move value on the internet with no central intermediary, sort of outside of the central bank system, outside of the commercial bank system, and so forth. That foundational bit of it is actually important to your question. At some point in time, somebody determined how to raise money off of this, how to raise money. And we basically had investment contracts in the crypto field. There's about 10,000 tokens. And what is it that the investing public is doing? They're investing in something, hoping for a better future. They're investing in something, anticipating profits based upon the efforts of others. Well, that is, in fact, what the courts have found multiple times, Supreme Court, is the indicia of an investment contract, a security. Congress painted with a broad brush that when the investing public is hoping for a better future, anticipating profits based on others, bingo, that's a security. And so we're trying to work with the market participants, and particularly the intermediaries, the broker dealers, the exchanges, the asset managers, Now, they might call themselves something a little bit different. They might call themselves crypto lending platforms or the like. But if they're handling these tokens, largely speaking, and without prejudging any one of them, they need to come in, register. We've brought enforcement actions, 80 or 90 in the past. We'll continue to be a cop on the beat trying to protect the investing public. But I think, again, largely speaking, these tokens, the public is investing, anticipating profits based upon the efforts of others. Now, there may be a handful, and I really think that it's probably, you can count on sort of the fingers of a hand or two, that don't have that group of entrepreneurs in the middle. It doesn't have the public anticipating profits based upon that there's not the same requirements. And that's where my sibling agency that I was honored to chair, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, has a really important role as well.
Yeah. So in addition to having people come in and talk to the SEC or enforcement actions, how else can you make it clear that, okay, here are the types of tokens that don't fall within our purview? There's so much confusion.
Rena, I just don't accept it. Not liking the answer is not the same as not knowing the answer. And, you teach at Georgetown, you've got great students. I mean, you ask them, wait, when you look, ask for a show of hands even in that audience there. Is there anybody in the audience that is working with a crypto token project? I'm not going to take names. I'm not going to, right? And do you have a legal contract with them? Do you have an engagement with them? And the answer is going to be generally yes, because you probably aren't working pro bono, and there's some group of entrepreneurs that have signed that contract. It's not. This isn't that confusing, actually. It's pretty straightforward, but people are trying to paper over it, and there's frankly a lot of non-compliance. People are trying to sort of say, well, I set it up in a foundation, or I set it up in another jurisdiction, usually overseas, or I airdropped a few tokens here, but kept most of the tokens myself. But there's a group of entrepreneurs, there's a group of developers in the middle. The hand I saw in the audience, we won't take the name down, probably has a client, and there's somebody there that ought to be thinking, all right, in the U.S., people are investing based on anticipating a profit and based on our efforts. And the platforms that are trading the tokens, the platforms that are lending, that to work to get inside an investor protection remit.
Yeah. So where do we need legislation from Congress in this whole area? What would you like to see?
So I think, and I've joined together with Secretary Yellen and Chair Powell and my colleagues, the President's Working Group, suggesting that one area is with regard to stable coins. And I'm going to distinguish between two types of coins, but there are coins that are backed by, or purportedly backed by U.S. dollar. There's three large ones, and they're used inside of the crypto intermediaries, inside the crypto system today, about 150 billion dollars of them. Those have a lot of similarities to money market funds. And in a low interest rate environment, weren't necessarily directly paying interest, but often we're giving rewards and yields and other returns. And how to look at that if those particularly moved into the payment system, if they became e-monies. And so we've talked about it at the President's Working Group and the Financial Stability Oversight Council about what's the appropriate safety and soundness oversight on group of stable coins. There's another group of stable coins that are simply just again similar to what I said earlier. There's a group of entrepreneurs that are saying they have value, and it's the value based upon some algorithm or some efforts of that entrepreneurial group and the like. But even that first group that is purportedly backed by the dollar right now could well be securities. But working with Congress on the safety and soundness side of that, while the CFTC and SEC retain conduct authority, I think the CFTC could well have greater authorities. They currently do not have direct regulatory authorities over the underlying non-security tokens. They have anti-fraud, anti-manipulation, but actual plenary regulatory authority to write rules around the exchanges.
So the Howey test comes up again and again, right? Do you think modifications are needed to the Howey test?
With all respect, no. I think that Congress was right in the 1930s. I think this so-called Howey test that came about with the Supreme Court in 1946 or 7 has been used and upheld by the Supreme Court all the way into the last 15 years, 9 or 10 times. And I think at its core, what and Thurgood Marshall at the Supreme Court wrote in one opinion in the 70s that Congress painted with a broad brush to protect the investing public when sponsors or promoters were trying to take the public's money, hoping for a better future. His words were a little different, but taking that money and promoting something to them. And Congress did this with a lot of knowledge about the incentive systems that promoters and sponsors pumping out an idea and trying to raise money. You need to make sure that there's fair, full, and truthful disclosure. Roosevelt called it the Truth in Securities Act, the 33 Act. That was it. The basic bargain is the same in crypto as it is in other securities. And the vast majority, without prejudging any one of these, the vast majority is exactly what Thurgood Marshall spoke about.
All right, guys. So again, this was a very cool clip. It was actually posted 2 days ago, so it's relatively recent. Now, make sure you guys do follow me on my Twitter page, guys, Crypto Geek News, because I'm constantly posting on there as well. And what's more important is that you go ahead to metalcrypto.com, linked in the description below, and you get yourself one of these Ripple coins. They're actually 20 bucks, guys, but they are so freaking nice, and they're just a collectible. So you get your physical crypto coin. On top of that, they have crypto coins like Shiba Inu, Litecoin, they have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Dogecoin, literally every single thing, guys, and they're constantly adding new ones. Definitely check them out, guys. The link is down below. That's metalcrypto.com. Also, guys, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. We are getting really, really close to 11,500 subscribers. We are trying to make our way to 12,000 subscribers, so hit that subscribe button. That being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next Crypto Geek video.